So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the BBC actually reporting what's going on with the Brexit trade deals, and Ben Chu lays this out beautifully, absolutely beautifully. When the BBC do things right, they get things really right. I am working on another video about how the UK's promised trade deals are working out slower than they really anticipated. And the amount being covered by the trade deals is less than they had hoped because we can't get the US deal. But let's cut to the clip here of Ben Chu. It's some cool stuff here.
And get more access to foreign markets. But we have concluded some new trade deals, as well as the Australia deal. There's one with New Zealand and a deal with Japan, which adds to the previous EU one in some respects.
Now, the one with the Japan deal, it's very unclear what's been added, apart from the fact that we get access to the EU's leftover cheese quota, but from what I remember reading at the time, it's far more stringent on things like state aid than the EU-Japan deal, so I don't think it's actually better than the UK-Japan deal. So swing and a miss there from Ben Chu, but we'll go on to see the bits I actually respect.
So what's the overall economic impact of those? Well, let's use estimates from the Department for Trade's own published impact assessments. The Australia deal is judged to add around 0.08% to UK GDP, or around £2.3 billion.
Now that sounds like a lot, and I thought it was originally 0.02% to GDP. It was actually 0.08%. They do mention here it could be between 0.06 to 0.010, but it depends. I think the only real issue is that it depends on UK production, which has slowed down dramatically as well. So us exporting more to Australia might not happen, just because the trade deal is not the best. It could also happen because of our lack of productivity. But 2.3 billion sounds like a lot. Let's keep going.
The Japan deal around 0.07%, or £1.5 billion.
Now, I don't know if that's a 1.5 billion increase compared to the EU-Japan deal that we had before, or is it if we had a no-deal scenario with Japan. So this point makes no sense, but we move because it kind of feeds into some other narrative. But this 1.5 billion I'm a bit unsure of.
The New Zealand deal, 0.03%, or around £800 million.
Now that one I'm sure is 0.02%. So if I'm wrong, again, I'll take an L. But I don't know where Ben Chu, because he's getting it from the Department of International Trade. But I remember reading a 0.02. Very strange.
This is all certainly worth having, but remember the context of Brexit. The UK leaving the EU single market and customs union. The Office of Budget Responsibility judges this will reduce long-run UK GDP by 4%, around £115 billion. And as you can see, those new trade deals don't come close to offsetting that damage. But there could be other deals too, couldn't there? We're in the process of negotiating a free trade deal with India, the world's fastest growing economy.
They've knocked us out I think they've taken our spot as the 7th biggest economy in the world. I think they're definitely above us from what I remember.
And although it's been put on the back burner, we were told a new US trade deal would be a great post-Brexit prize.
It's not on the back burner. It's not going to happen until after 2030. And you still have, even after Biden goes, you still have the issue of a lot of pro-island members of the House and the Senate on the Republican side and the Democrat side. So put on the back burner is a very generous term. I'll call that swing and a miss too, if I'm being honest.
But look at the higher end estimates of how much even these deals would add to long-run UK GDP. For the India deal, it's 0.22% of GDP, or £6.2 billion. For a US deal, it's 0.16% of GDP, or £3.4 billion, the green bar there. So still far from compensating for the EU trade hit.
And this is where I kind of despair at Labour as well, because Labour talk about tweaking the deal, but we've lost. I think you mentioned about £114 billion worth of trade that's been put on the table. That's from Brexit, and if you look at the kind of the deals that we've got so far, don't do much in terms of dent the lost EU trade. These mythical India and US trade deals, especially the US trade deal, isn't going to add a ton to our GDP. So you can't, trying to use the argument of we'll supplement trade with the rest of the world simply doesn't work. Free trade agreements help to, boost trade, but the thing is they're not the end all and be all compared to what we lost, because you still face customs fees, you still face vet checks and all that kind of stuff, even if you have a free trade agreement. So they don't increase trade massively. They do help, but if you add up all of these little trade deals, it doesn't amount to anywhere near what we lost when it comes to EU trade.
And remember, this is using estimates of the government's own economists.
I don't think there's any evidence that signing trade deals with these other countries around the world than Europe has anything more than a rather small effect. First, they're a long way away, and we know that the effect of trade deals decays over distance.
We also know Brexiteers don't understand geography, so that's another problem.
Secondly, the deals we're signing are very shallow compared with the sort of deep integration, deep relationship that we had with Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, some of them are nice to have. I don't want to say, look, stop doing this. But I think most of us did find a surprising and could even use stronger words than that, the claims that were made about them.
It's simply the case that they don't measure up. If we go back quickly, if you look at there's the UK trade, it's 115 billion, right? I kind of wish he put this number back up, but 115 billion. These trade deals that we've got with all these countries, even combined with the mythical US and India trade deals, they even make the 20 billion pound mark compared to the 115 that we lost with the EU. So it's just ridiculous to claim anything otherwise. The fact is, it doesn't matter how many of these other trade deals we get unless it equals 115 billion pounds, and we can really make use of them and increase our exports dramatically, especially because we've lost around 15%. Our exports have fallen by around 15%. Unless you can get those numbers back up, these are rookie numbers, scrub. You're talking less than 15 billion that we have guaranteed compared to the 115 billion pounds we've lost. Honestly, no one can justify this. No Tory can justify this. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Shouts out to Ben Chu. 2 swings and a miss on 2 different things. But overall, he's safe. No 3 strikeout here. But, I do appreciate at least when the BBC do stuff, they can do stuff well to an extent. And at least their graphics are decent. I probably could make graphics like this, I'll be honest. But, it kind of does lay out here. I kind of wish they put the final number up here. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.